Look alive, look alive. All right. Welcome in to this beautiful video that we're... I'm going to start over. That was weird. That was a whack. All right.
Gay.
All right, welcome into the Third and Wrong YouTube channel. This is Gage, Mike, and Gage, and Dylan. I took the names off so you can't understand anything I just said, but Gage is going to be right down here. He's a Browns fan. Mike right here, he's a Patriots fan. And as you can see, I'm a Colts fan. But we got a beautiful video. We're not going to be talking about any of our teams today. We're actually going to be talking about the NFC conference as a whole. We're going to break down the different divisions, give you a strength and weakness of the teams, kind of like how are they going to, do the most this year and what can kind of hinder them throughout the year as well. So that's going to be the video. We're going to be going through the NFC North, the NFC South, the NFC West, and the NFC East. So
There we go.
we're going to cover all those teams, kind of give a brief overview of each team before the season starts. And before we get into everything, do you guys have any other things to say real quick?
Nope.
The Browns cut Kay York and signed the GOAT, Dustin Hopkins. Traded for the GOAT.
There you go.
Basically, we're going to win the Super Bowl now. So,
Yeah.
you're
Anyways,
welcome.
watch this little intro video and we'll be right back.
Betrayal scars, can't stop thinking about those stab wounds. We might not catch him today, but he gon' die soon.
All right, like I said, we are going to be going over the NFC conference as a whole today. We're going to be giving you the breakdowns of each conference or each division within the conference. Mikey's going to go first with the NFC North. Gage is going to go second with the NFC South. I'll go third with the NFC West. And then we're all going to tackle the NFC East because we know that most of the fans out there, they're going to be fans of those teams, you degenerates. But Mikey, first, let's go to your division, the NFC North, the old teams, as I like to call them. They're old
OGs.
teams, but
The OGs, man.
there's a lot of changes in this division. There's a lot of just
There
changes
is.
going on. So kind of give us a breakdown of each team, why they're going to succeed and why they're going to fail.
All right. I'll start off with the Minnesota Vikings. Reason why they're going to succeed is that high-powered offense and the fact that it got stronger in the draft with adding Jordan Addison. And we all know how Justin Jefferson is, and Kirk Cousins has been doing pretty good in training camp. He's looking all right. Kirk's not amazing, but he's also not terrible. So I think as long as that offense keeps succeeding the way it does, I think that's obviously going to be a strength, and they kind of showed last year with their 13-4 record. So as long as they kind of keep, you like that? God, I love Kirk. But yeah, as long as they keep doing that, I think they could have a little bit of a repeat of last year and take the NFC North by storm again. But a weakness to all this could be their defense. I know they have Brian Flores now as their defensive coordinator, and he is a defensive guru. So, but they have said their defense has been looking better, but I know their defense wasn't up to par last year. So if that continues to happen, then that could be a weakness for them, and they could end up losing in the first round again to the Giants like they just did last year. So defense could be another weakness for them. So Brian Flores has to get that defense straightened out, which it kind of looks like they are. But I'd say that's one of their main weaknesses.
All right.
Next, we'll go on to the Chicago Bears, as I like to call them.
The
Rodgers
Bears.
playground. Even though he's not here anymore, he decided to venture on over to the AFC East, you piece of crap. Anyways, yep, the Bears, strength for them and where they could succeed this year is the addition of DJ Moore on offense. So giving Justin Fields that main weapon he kind of needs, and then Cole Kmet needs to keep taking strides in that offense, and I think he can be another good target for Justin Fields. And then weakness is going to be that offensive line. They need to protect Fields. He needs to stay in the pocket longer to be able to make those plays to Cole Kmet and DJ Moore and to Darnell Mooney.
Facts.
I heard he might be getting traded.
Mooney?
Yeah,
He could be.
Like that
He's really
recent?
yeah, but
I haven't seen that. That's
He's
crazy.
really not all that great. He can be good. He has shown flashes. He needs to stay more consistent to be more of a threat. But
yeah,
I think that's the main weakness, though, for the Bears that could really see them struggle again is having Justin Fields not in the pocket to be able to make those plays with his arm. I know he can extend the play with his feet, and he's very good at that, but you don't want that to keep happening, especially as we've seen what happens to quarterbacks that do that, as in Michael Vick and RG3. Even though Michael Vick did have some longevity, but he also had some pretty gnarly injuries. So
yeah.
they want that to your franchise quarterback. Next, we'll move on to the Green Bay Packers with newly promoted and starting quarterback Jordan Love. We'll see how that goes. That could be a strength and or a weakness to them. I mean, you don't really have too much film on Jordan Love. Don't really know what he's fully capable of. So it could be a strength that the Packers could use because teams won't really know how to game plan for him in a way. But it also could be a weakness because he hasn't really started many games. He doesn't really have much playing time in the NFL. He's been in the league, 4 years now? 4 years now. He's maybe started a handful of games. So I think that's a strength and a weakness for the Green Bay Packers. And then we'll move on to the Lions. Here is the last team. My boy Dan Campbell getting the boys in shape. Strength for them is just the players that they're adding in, through the draft and a few from free agency with Jahmyr Gibbs. And they signed CJ
Who's your
Johnson or CJ Gardner Johnson. CJ Gardner Johnson. Signed him from the Eagles. But they also, want Jameson Williams.
Jameson,
Jameson.
Jameson.
Yeah, Jameson Williams quits betting, gets back onto the field. You're going to have him out there. They also signed Marvin. Did they bring Marvin Jones back?
I don't think so.
They just signed some receiver. I think they brought him back. I think it was Marvin Jones Jr.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I don't know if he played there before, but Jameson Williams, Marvin Jones Jr., and of course, I almost forgot about him, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Decent receiving core there through about the mid-year, hopefully. Jameson's only missing 6 games, but they have a pretty nice offense, and their offensive line is one of the most stout in the league. They're not flashy, but they get the job done, with Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, those types of guys. So their offense is nice. And then it's just the problems on defense. Corner's a little weak. Their safeties is getting stronger now with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Brian Branch, and then the likes of who's that dude with the long blonde hair? Alex Anzalone.
Yeah.
But they're a little weak on defense, so that could be a weakness for them, just like for the Minnesota Vikings. They have the players on offense to get the job done. It's just that defense needs to step up and continue to grow and continue to get better. But I think the Lions could be a sneaky little playoff team, maybe. So
who do you think is going to take the division? How do you think the order of this division is going to be?
I think it's going to be Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears.
Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bear. Gage, are you feeling anything different?
Yeah, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. It's going to be Packers, Vikings, Bears. Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears.
Interesting.
Jordan Love is going to be just fine.
I'm going to go Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears. That's just me. I do like, the Vikings, they did lose Dalvin Cook, so that's kind of a big hit. But, as a team, they've been playing pretty good. Justin Jefferson, obviously, is best wide receiver right now in the league. But then, obviously the Lions, I think they have kind of built their culture. They've built up their depth chart. They got, kind of a quarterback that maybe isn't your elite guy, but he's definitely slinging the ball around.
Like a Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and I just think that they probably have the most complete team right now, which is weird to say for the Lions. The Packers are arguably there too, and the Vikings, but I think we're all in agreement. The Bears are kind of just still. They're still at least a year away. I feel like unless Justin Fields just takes them on top of his shoulders and carries them to victory.
I think they will improve, and I think a couple of the teams will take a step back. Like I don't think the Vikings will be 13-4 again, but I think the Bears will win a few more games than usual.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it'll be a competitive division, though.
Yeah, something that wasn't talked about was the Vikings. Like last year, they won like a ridiculous amount of one-score games. It was like 80% or something. Their one-score game they won, and they finished with like a negative point differential.
They did.
You can't do that multiple years in a row. So you would like if you're betting, you would say that they're probably going to get a little bit worse just because they had such a ridiculous conversion rate last year.
Yeah,
they were like the bizarro Patriots, where the Patriots had such a good defense, but their offense just couldn't get them into games, and vice versa for the Vikings. But I think.
And then Mikey was right. He did go to the Lions. They did sign him.
Oh,
Marvin Jones.
Cool.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah. But let's kind of take this conversation a little further south with you, Gabe. You are our stand-in, expert on the NFC South, and
oh yeah,
we're going to be talking about the greatest division of the NFC. Feels like the South divisions right now are just booty cheeks, but
I don't know. We're joking around, but I have been following a lot more of the NFC South. It is more fun, and likely because Baker Mayfield is now on the Buccaneers. But we'll get to that. We'll start off with the fun team, with the first team up at the top. The Falcons. You had a pretty stable year last year. It was really up and down. You had runs, you had of wins and runs of losses, and you guys still somehow maintained that like 500 record towards until the end, and then kind of fell apart. You let Desmond Ridder go in and start to get some games in, and that's what this year's about, seeing what Desmond Ridder can do. You picked up Bijan, which is already a great addition to that already stacked offensive line and running back group that they did really well with last year. So that's like their big positive why they can be successful this year. Building upon that run game that you guys thrived on last year and adding a dynamic player to it that can also help out on that quarterback to see, hey, is this the guy we want to move forward with?
Yeah.
Reasons why they maybe they couldn't be successful is that same thing with that rookie quarterback. Not rookie quarterback, but sophomore quarterback. How high are you really on him? They started Mariota multiple games last year when he clearly wasn't playing well. So is there a lot of faith in him? Or are they kind of tooling up to see what they have for the future? So that'll be kind of a make or break it. And then you've got the Panthers. How successful are they going to be, and how can they be successful? Well, you traded the farm. You traded DJ Moore. You traded all the way up to get yourself CJ Stroud. Or Bryce Young. Not CJ Stroud. I'm looking at
they should have taken CJ
Texans
Stroud.
Thing. That's what I was saying. I think they should have taken CJ Stroud. Bryce Young. And this whole kind of thing of success and failure will be based around him in a different way. I'll start with the failure first for them. You've got Bryce Young, and you need him to succeed. And I'm sure Panthers fans watching in the preseason, that offensive line has looked scary and not a good way.
Yeah.
Bryce Young has been abused. And that's like the number one thing. Like, you can be all the talent you want in the world, but if you're getting destroyed, you've got you're starting 2 feet back. You're never going to be able to succeed. And it's already kind of an uphill battle with them because they don't really have a full team going. When you're a rookie quarterback like that, you go into a situation that's not great. That's kind of the gimmick. And then getting rid of their best wide receiver threat, and they kind of have a room full of Jags. You don't know who's really going to be that number one group. So you're kind of banking on that. And then you're hoping the reason why they could be successful is Bryce Young was very good in college. Maybe he can build that team and put him on his back and keep going. You got a new running back in Miles Sanders to make up for the CMC trade last year. But And this, I think, the successful way would be to keep Bryce Young healthy and see improvement from him. You don't want him to be so set back from bad habits because of the offensive line killing him that it sets him back. And I'll link this over. I'll skip to the Buccaneers for this because that's what happened to Baker Mayfield. He had that good rookie year, and that second year, our offensive line was terrible, and he was getting killed, and it developed very, very poor habits that he had to this day. It stunted his growth. You know, you could just say he was never that good, but after that first year, I mean, people were. He was in that commercial with Tom Brady, and he got all those. You don't see that with rookies ever. Like Baker was that dude. And that's what you're kind of hoping for if you're a Bucs fan. Can Baker, show you guys something? You guys obviously have, a talented roster. You won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. It's a little bit older, but you still have, great weapons. You have a decent defensive line or offensive line, and you've got a solid, well above average defense. So, can Baker Mayfield help and improve? I love Baker. I'm kind of in the opinion that the Bucs will probably take a downturn. I think that, Brady in his last year is probably a better version than what Baker can give you now. I'm not wishing failure on them. I hope that they do well. I like Baker a lot. But that's what you're hoping. Can you replicate? Can you get something out of Baker? He showed that he could win last year with the Rams. He had a good couple games. He's got a full off season. He's got probably the best receiving weapons he's had with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. He's never had that big target wide receiver, but that's what he kind of loved in college with Mark Andrews. He likes that big target guy. So I think that could be a reason of success. And then finally, I think for the team that is the most intriguing, the Saints.
Yeah.
That Derek Carr trade was it even a trade or was it they signed him? Did the Raiders cut him? Yeah. I think that was really good. I know Derek Carr gets a lot of flack just because he isn't that top tier elite. And he isn't that average Jimmy Garoppolo level starter. He's a guy that can win you games, but also cost you games, which is kind of frustrating when you have that. Granted, you've got a much better team he's coming into than the Raiders. The Raiders have not helped him for years. You've got a defense that has always been really good and solid.
Devontae.
Yeah, and then they got rid of him. They didn't even let him stay. But now you've got a good receiving core for him. We got Michael Thomas, who, for the 6 games he plays, he's going to be really, really good.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I hope he does stay healthy. I do like
Me too. I want to see him play.
I know. I had a theory for a long time that I thought he accidentally died or something, and the Saints were just putting it off and saying that, oh, he's injured because he didn't see that dude for like 2 years. But Chris Olave is a really electric rookie who is really good at the deep ball, getting open down the field, and Derek Carr loves himself throwing the football deep. And I think that they've got a really good chance. They've got a good running game. Alvin Kamara's only suspended for 3 games. That's minuscule in the NFL season. And then you've got the benefit of having a division that is, we just talked about it. There's like success things, but really they're all question marks. Question mark at QB for 3 of the teams that are in your division, and you're the one that has your quarterback set. That should put you ahead. So I'll leave that in. I do think that the Saints will win the division. I think that it'll be the Bucs, Falcons, Panthers. I think the Panthers line is really going to hold them back.
The Panthers, yeah. If I was to stab at it, I would go the Saints first. I think we almost all of us are going to take the Saints first. Man, but after that, the Falcons have actually a better defense than the Buccaneers, at least through what I'm looking at. I'm going to go Falcons 2, Bucs 3, Panthers 4. But I think Saints kind of go like 9 or 10 wins, and then everyone else is like right at the 8 to 7 win mark. Like it's still going to be close, like it was last year, but I think the Saints are the clear favorite right now. Mikey?
Mikey, what do you think?
That's how I'm feeling. I'm not going to try and change the wheel. I'm kind of feeling the same way Dylan is.
Okay.
Love it. I would say, yeah, Alvin Kamara only being out 3 games is huge. The Bucks cornerbacks, like their DBs, I think are going to be the biggest tested position in this division. And then after that, like you said, how do Desmond Ritter and Bryce Young do? I would say I'm still on my I want the smoke on this. Frank Reich is not a great leader for the NFL, and I've dealt with that man for like 4 or 5 years, bitter about it, and I want to be proven right that the Frank Reich is he's a good offensive play caller, good coach in that regard. I just don't want him as a head coach. He's not good for the locker room in my opinion. But yeah, that's my soapbox for the night.
He's not salty or biased, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess I will take that then and run it to the NFC West. Speaking of, I'm gonna kind of just go in counterclockwise motion, and I'll start with the Rams here. The Los Angeles Rams are kind of at the point of dealing with consequences of paying so many people up front, trading so many first round picks up front. Yes, they got a Super Bowl win out of it. Congrats. But now you're kind of in this amoebic mode of like, what are we?
Can we say that's a success, though? They did that. They
no,
went for it all to win that Super Bowl, and you got it. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, Sean McVay is still young. Well, we can hope that he stays in the head coach role for a while because he is a good head coach. But the key for success for them this year is kind of utilizing Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, and whatever range of weapons that they can get, and start firing on that, kind of that high-end offense that they had when they did have Cooper Kupp break records. They had, Matthew Stafford just balling out there his first year. If they can get back to that, that's awesome for them. And then the rest of it is just counting on your coaches developing this talent in a quick and hurry fashion because they got a lot of young guys, not a lot of experience. Obviously, they got Aaron Donald and a few weapons on defense, but this is a team that was not that team that went to the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford is kind of on his last, few legs. So the thing for why they might fail is just their depth. They don't have depth right now. They're, very young team, very inexperienced as far as just roster experience goes. And their running back room isn't all that great. They added some people, but, Cam Akers, just not inspiring. I like Zach Evans a lot. I think they have Roundtree, or maybe that's the Chargers, but either way, they're just not as fun to watch as they were before. So, key to success is getting that engine of an offense going again, and then the reason for their fail is their inexperience across the board. The Arizona Cardinals have 2 really good new uniforms and 1 terrible uniform. The red uniform is just garbage. They shouldn't have ever done that. Just keep it with the same style. But the Arizona Cardinals are going to be bottom feeders this year. I think that's pretty self-evident. I think the only success that they can hope for is Kyler Murray coming back and showing that he is Kyler Murray, that everyone kind of hopes that he is. He does have superstar potential. He has, great abilities as the quarterback. He's not your prototype, but he can win games for sure. I think we've seen that. So I think the success this year for them is, Kyler Murray coming back and showing, if we do get the number 1 pick, we don't need Caleb Williams. That's going to be a hard decision, though, if they're both looking good. So we'll see about that. But the reason why they're most likely going to fail this year is, one, they don't have Kyler Murray for most of the year, if at all. They're going to count on Clayton Tune or Josh Dobbs at this point as quarterback. Their best running back is James Conner, he's a big running back who he's a big running back. He's not fast. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not bad, but he's probably one of the bottom of the starters for running backs go. And I think that's just where they're going to fail is they don't have the roster that everyone else in the NFL has. Like, they just traded away Isaiah Simmons for a 7th round pick. Like, they're changing. They're in a process of a lot of overhaul right now in Arizona, and I think that they're probably going to be, definitely going to be in top three picks, but they're probably going to be pick one or two at this point. Moving on to the Seattle Seahawks, though, this is one of the surprising teams of last year, especially Geno Smith. We heard a beautiful, argument why Geno Smith is one of the best quarterbacks this year. But that is going to be the reason why the Seahawks do well. I think what we've said for all these different teams is, that offense working good is going to help them out. With the Seattle Seahawks, though, I think more than anything, we do trust their offense right now. I feel like most people see that they have, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, now Jackson Smith and Jigba. They got like 4 running backs that are really good. So I'm not worried about their offense as much as their defense. I think that's kind of what's going to hold this team together. Can we get some early returns on Devon Witherspoon? Can we get, a defensive line that's worth something this year? And if they can have an amazing year and surprise a lot of people. But again, kind of a lot of these reasons that they are successful are probably going to be the reasons why they fail. And the only reason that the Seahawks might fail is if their defensive line that they didn't invest a lot into, just can't keep up with the likes of, the Niners offense for sure. But, a lot of these other offenses in the NFL can, if there's not a good enough defensive line, you're going to have troubles. And I'm sure Gage and the Browns can attest to that. But going on to the most likely divisional winners, the San Francisco 49ers. I think the reason why they will have success this year, I think it's largely going to be when Brock Purdy steps onto the field. He's not just like a good quarterback, but he's a great quarterback for Shanahan's system. He does a really good job of just making the right plays. I mean, he made mistakes, but he never cost them games, and that's something that Kyle Shanahan has been begging for a while, and he has that in a young quarterback with Brock Purdy. The reason, I don't know if there's really a reason that the Niners can fail, because they have one of the best defenses. They have Fred Warner, one of the best linebackers. They got Nick Bosa, probably the best edge rusher right now. And they got a ton of players across that defense that are, playing lights out. I would say the only thing that can really hinder them is kind of what hinders the rest of the teams that are this good is just, injuries. Brock Purdy's coming off an injury. And then you have Sam Darnold as your backup right now. So, that's kind of if anything happens to Brock Purdy, that's kind of seasons, in balance at that point, and anything can happen. They can still be good, but that's going to be the reason why they might take a dip if they do at all. So I think we all have high hopes for the Niners as far as just your record goes, but I'm going to go for this division. I'm going to go the Niners, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, and I feel like that's about as cut as dry as I can make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a pretty big argument.
I am excited to see what the Rams do this year, because they are a very interesting team to kind of see how they weathered the storm. But I think the Niners, the Seahawks, kind of have this division at the moment.
They've got the deeper teams.
Yeah.
So then we can talk about what the Niners and the Trey Lance situation and everything.
Oh yeah.
They are very, very, very lucky.
Yes.
That Brock Purdy turned out to be not only just a starting quarterback, but a good quarterback, because they are not getting flack at all for that trade that they made with Trey Lance, because they've got a team set up.
Wins will help heal any wounds. Yeah. Wins will help any wounds.
So
well,
that was something.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple division this year. I mean, obviously, if we're speaking now, we don't know if anything else has changed, but
I guess we can do something for Cardinals fans in there. If you guys are not going to do as well as everyone kind of is expecting, do you try to go full nuclear and just reset without Kyler Murray and send him off somewhere and try to build around Caleb Williams, or do you send that to one of the teams that are going to need a quarterback and get a haul and kind of keep going around that Kyler Murray build? I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
Yeah, drop that in the comments if you're a Cardinals fan. Let us know. We will try not to laugh at you either.
no, it's an interesting question. It's difficult because Kyler's big thing is agility and being able to scramble, and is he going to be able to do that at the level he was before because of that?
Well, and I mean, even then, if Kyler comes back strong, I mean, Caleb Williams is also tempting. It's like, I mean, not to the same levels, but when Peyton Manning had that big injury and Andrew Luck was coming up, it's like, do we go with the guy that has a neck surgery, or do we go with one of the best prospects that we've seen in a really long time? And it's a tough decision. I mean, Broncos got a Super Bowl out of it, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's a tough decision.
And then, this is all super hypothetical because there's a lot of times that, Sam Howell was the QB1 and then he went into round 5, round 6 by the end of that next year. So, maybe Caleb Williams isn't even consensus number 1. I mean, I doubt it, but
Yeah. There could be things that happen. Well, let's kind of wrap up this conference with probably one of the most fearsome or maybe just hated division.
Yeah, hated.
Yeah, hated.
I mean,
And we all know who we're talking about. This is the NFC East. Sorry. These graphics come straight from my source, Google, and this one is just not a high-resolution one, but kind of helps you give an optical thing to look at as we talk, so you don't have to look at our faces.
There was not a few years. I mean, there was a few years, but it's been going on forever. There's nothing worse than having Sunday night football, game of the week, being shoved down your throat to watch the freaking Giants and Cowboys play, who are both booty cheeks.
Or Cowboys and the Commanders. Or
Commander,
like
yeah.
That.
Oh my gosh, dude. Having years like that just made me hate this division.
Yeah.
Which, like, team by team, I have no problem with. I like the Commanders. I like the Eagles. They're fun to watch. The Cowboys, they're always... I don't know. NFC East football has just kind of got a bad taste in my mouth because growing up, they usually weren't great, and it made it frustrating.
Well, they're all seeming like they're getting better.
And that's what's fun now. That's why we saved the best division for last now.
For real, yeah. Mikey, we've kind of crowned you as our Cowboys expert, and I know you love that team with all your heart.
Love the Cowboys.
Give us an in-depth analysis here real quick.
Okay. In-depth analysis of the Cowboys here. One of their strengths that could... Yeah, honestly, usually we've been saying as long as that defense plays, or as long as the offense plays good, they're going to be all right. I think this time we're going to switch up a little bit here, and it's going to be the defense is actually one of the strengths for the Dallas Cowgirls and boys. Sorry. Their defense is really good. They also added Stephon Gilmore, and they also drafted Mozzie Smith, who is a beast. And, they have Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. Yep, DeMarcus Lawrence. Sorry, I had to make sure I was saying that right.
And
Trayvon Diggs.
Legend right there.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Trayvon Diggs, who is kind of coming down off of that fluke of a year he just had interceptions, but he gave up the most yards out of any corner in the entire NFL. We're not going to talk about it, but he's doing okay. He's good. Stephon Gilmore's good. I just went through that. So their defense, they play good, and as long as they continue to play good, they're always going to have a chance. But one of their weaknesses, I think, is going to be Dak Prescott.
Ooh,
and
spicy.
Yell at me in the comments all you want.
Yeah, they're going to be at your throat.
Don't care. Here's why. Last year, I know he was hurt for a little bit, played 12 games, but he threw 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions.
Yikes.
He threw 15 interceptions in 12 games.
Well, at least they got a very promising young offensive coordinator to help him, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. It was not.
That was a Kellen Moore reference, in case anyone was there. Okay, move on.
Sorry, I was not trying to laugh or anything with that. That was just an actual cough. But I think Dak Prescott is going to be a weakness for them. This is 2 out of 3 years now that he has been injured. He's coming off. What did he do? Break his ankle or broke his leg in 2020? Broke his leg. Was out. Only played 5 games. Came back the next year. Did throw for almost 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Solid year. But then last year, once again, took a dip. 23 touchdowns to 15 interceptions in 12 games. And I think he's going to continue to fall. I don't know if he can get that magic back.
Yep.
And I think we could see a little Trey Lance action.
Ooh, that is
I think
spicy.
we could. I don't know how much Dak has left in the tank. He's about to be 30 years old. So,
Man.
and he just keeps getting hurt, man. So
That is true. That is true.
keeps getting hurt. We'll have to see. We'll have to see where it goes. But I think he's going to be a weakness for him.
Yep.
Especially when you have a team with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard, and a decent enough line with Tyler Smith, Zach Martin.
Don't forget about boy Jalen Tolbert. Come on now.
Sorry,
He's
he just
primed
wasn't on
for
my.
that
He just
year
wasn't
two
on my.
breakout.
He just wasn't on my screen right now. Tyler Beaties and Tyrone Smith. So I mean, their offensive line is for sure serviceable and can protect Dak, but I just think Dak's going to get in his own way and get in his own head now that Trey Lance is there. Someone who could have a lot of potential breathing down his neck that they could be looking to move on from him if he can't continue the magic that he had when he first got there.
We'll see.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, Dylan, you want the Giants? You want me to do the Commanders next?
Oh yeah, that is me. I am the one doing the Giants. The reason why I am doing the New York Giants is because they have stolen a lot of well-liked players from the Indianapolis Colts, namely Bobby Okereke and Paris Campbell. The Giants. Sorry,
Is it Okereke or Okereke?
Okay,
I think it's Okereke. Yeah, it started off as
Okereke is so much
Okereke.
fun.
Oh
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Okereke sounds better, but it's okay.
I think he's a
Okay.
first generation from Africa. I forget exactly where, but
Nigeria,
it's
mate.
America. Yeah, but no, I know they have
Just kidding, I
probably
know
one of the
him,
best coordinator duos with a really solid head coach there in New York, namely Brian Daboll, Wink Martindale, and blinking on the offensive coordinator. But either way, they're a well-coached team. They locked on Saquon Barkley. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year for them. They got a lot going for them. It's just, I think, for them to come in and have a successful year, one of the keys to doing that is finding a go-to guy that's not Saquon Barkley. So a pass catcher that you can rely on, because they got a swath of wide receivers that you might look at. It's like, oh, that's a good guy. That's a good guy to have, that kind of thing. But they're like several other teams where they don't have a true just breakout wide receiver. They did draft Jalen Hyatt, who has potential to kind of be the kind of Chris Olave in a way. I think Chris Olave is better, obviously, but he's kind of more in that mold where he's a deep threat. But finding someone like that to give Daniel Jones a weapon to consistently go to. They have, like I said, they have talent there, but it's just finding that guy to kind of get there. I think we all have faith in Wink Martindale as a good defensive coordinator. He added Isaiah Simmons, and that's just another freak athlete to kind of give him to work with, which is kind of scary. But I think their defense is going to be great. I think their offensive line is good. They're going to be improving on that as well. So really the key to the success this year is just finding a more serious wide receiver option for Daniel Jones to kind of take him to that next level. Mike, you're laughing like a kid in the back of church. What's going on?
Kane sent a video in the chat that Joe, it was the Browns thinking they have an easy win week 1, and there was like Donovan People-Jones dancing in the end zone, and it said the Bengals, and the first one was a scene from the movie. Is that Division III football's finest?
Yeah.
Where the dude pulls out the gat and starts shooting the dude in the back. It's a Joe Mixon. Oh, come on, man. That's attempted homicide.
Well,
What are you guys, blind?
Getting back to the actual thing, but Dylan was saying with that offense, with the wide receiver group, I think they did do a decent job. They didn't get him a number one, but they've got him a core that actually has the ability to spread down the field with your Colts guy and that Jalen Hyatt, like you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, and it's just turning that into, finding that guy that can, beat the toughest corner challenge or whatever he's going to get.
Yeah.
So, but I would say the thing that might hinder their success, the reason for failure here, is just not having that guy at quarterback. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I think he's one of the best, just one of the best quarterbacks right now. He's kind of a good mold or a good blend of mobile yet ability to make tough passes. Dak Prescott, yeah, he's injured a few times, but he does have some really strong games. He does have some high ability, a high floor or high ceiling at times. And it's just Daniel Jones and the Giants, is their talent up to snuff with some of the best teams in the league, with the Cowboys and the Eagles, which is kind of hard to do. But they're not going to just be fodder for them. They're going to really compete and give these teams some tough games. So I'm expecting a strong year from them, but not expecting the world either. So that's kind of my take here on the Giants. But how about those commies, those Commanders, Gage?
Well, I think a big reason for their success will be that wide receiver core. They've got the quarterback Sam Howell. He's starting it off for them, and a good way to help your quarterback that's learning to get into the field is have a good wide receiver core for him. They've got a decent offensive line. They always have. What was that thing that Dylan you sent us earlier about?
Ron
Rivera.
You wanna bring that out real quick and read that?
I mean, I can try and pull it up, but basically what it was is Ron Rivera was like, "Oh, I didn't know that Sam Howell that's how he played or whatever." And I was talking to my wife all year, like, I can't believe I didn't know that Sam Howell's there. It's like, dude, you're the head coach. Like, he can't be saying that.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, how can you not see? Did you just not watch him in practice?
Yeah,
or?
Exactly. Like, our GM just gave us a quarterback. Cool. I'm gonna not even pay attention to him. Cool. But no, that, and then he was saying that, or someone had said that Tyler Heineke basically was like, just throw him in. He's good. Like, put Sam Howell in. He's like, all right, I guess. And he's like, oh wow, this guy's good. Like, dude, come on, you can't be saying that as a head coach.
Yeah.
But
yeah, getting back to the actual thing, I just thought that was really funny. You can't, like Dylan was saying, you can't say that as a head coach. That's crazy. But yeah, they've got a really solid wide receiving core. They've got Scary Terry, who is arguably one of the most dominant. Like he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in football.
Yeah.
He consistently put up good numbers and looked really well with a bad situation with him. And then you've got Jahan Dotson, who we talked about it all the time last year if you watched our stuff, that he reminded me of Antonio Brown. The way he ran his routes, how quick and shifty he was, and he just looks like he's getting better. You've got a good weapon in Curtis Samuel. He's got
a good deep threat.
And then Dwamie Brown is like the biggest hit and one. He played with Sam Howell in college. They've got that connection. You can see it in the preseason. He's looking for him often. So you've got a good core of guys that he not only can use but also feels comfortable with.
Yeah.
And to help him succeed with that as well, they've got Jacoby Brissett, who is just the consummate professional. He is
on all of our teams.
Yeah, amazing guy. Everyone loves him, and he is very smart, and he will help Sam Howell a lot as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, because the head coach doesn't pay enough attention to his quarterback, they went and got somebody that can help coach him up, and Sam Howell. And then reasons why they won't be successful.
They got a feather at cornerback in the first round?
I don't know. Honestly, Sam Howell is like the only thing I can think of because that defense is stacked. That defensive line is arguably the best in football, up there with the Eagles.
Yeah, their run game I think is a little bit suspect at the moment too.
We'll see with Brian Robinson because he came off and getting shot last year and he played pretty decently. So does he
Yeah.
get better? The offensive line got better.
It's suspect.
Like everything that they were like suspect on, they addressed. That they just now have question marks. Was that enough? Did they do it? I guess we can pull out a key point. Chase Young. Does he have the year? This is his that contract year, right?
Yeah, this is make or break it.
So are they going to be able to, push through with him? But even if they don't, I mean, they still had an incredible defensive line without him. I'm excited to watch them play.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think they've got like a solid team all around. I don't know if they've got that.
They got rid of Dan Snyder.
Exactly. It's all positives for the Commanders right now. Okay, even if they don't go, if they just like are competing and they could try to make it to the playoffs, I think that would be a huge success for that fan base in the city to just improve everything.
Oh, for sure.
And then I guess that leaves us with the reigning Super Bowl berth team, the Eagles.
Yeah, runners up.
Which, by the way, let's give them credit where it's due. That was one of the best Super Bowls I've watched in a long time. That was a really fun Super Bowl to watch.
Yeah,
I just need to figure out
28-3.
What?
28-3.
I say you didn't like the 28-3 Super Bowl. I like that one.
I like the one with Nick Foles.
I did. I enjoyed that one too. That one when they
The
caught
one I
that
didn't
touchdown
like?
and his foot was out of bounds and they counted it. I like that one too.
Smushed into the ground.
You know which one
No,
was
that
it?
was the Rams Super Bowl.
The Rams
that's
one,
it.
yeah, the Rams Patriots one. That one was terrible. I was
That was
in
awful.
college at the time. I
agree.
was dating a French foreign exchange student.
it was Patriots Eagles. I just don't know who won it that year. It was definitely Patriots Eagles. I remember that.
When he got smashed.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks got smashed. Yeah.
It was the Eagles
No.
game.
Yeah.
Was it the Eagles? I thought it was the
I-
Rams.
I-
Yeah,
He
because
got
Cooks-
absolutely
Cooks was
blindsided.
on the Rams.
No. Cooks
He went to
was
the
on
Rams
Patriots.
after. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He
went to
got
the Rams
absolutely
after.
blindsided by an Eagles. I think it might have been the one.
No,
where
it was the
Patriots-
Rams game. He got blindsided.
It was not. I
in the
guarantee
Rams.
you.
Yes,
I
because he
guarantee
went
you.
to the Rams the next year, and I thought
No.
it was hilarious. He
No,
got
it was
blindsided
not.
by the
It was
Rams.
not. It was the Eagles.
All right, you guys ready? Let's see. It was the Eagles.
Was it?
There's the
In your
picture.
face.
And his helmet is like halfway across his face.
Yeah, whatever.
Ah.
We should have won that Super Bowl too.
You just forget because you've been in so many Super Bowls, so it's okay.
Yeah, well,
Whatever.
Anyways, the Eagles, I think we can all kind of go around and say a positive about them.
they're trash. I know.
Yeah.
No, I think
Okay, I'm
I
done.
think Jalen Hurts really surprised me in the playoffs. He made a lot of really tough throws that were in tight windows, and I mean a lot of them were to Dallas Goedert. But I really respect his throwing ability, and he proved me, wrong in some ways with his throwing ability. So I'll give respect to Jalen Hurts that way.
What's the positive for you, Mikey?
That wide receiver group,
Yeah, they're
they're
stacked.
amazing. They're so good. That defense, so good. That offensive line, so good. That
And
coaching staff, so good.
And you know what, Miles Sanders, you're pretty decent. Why not we just get rid of you and we'll get DeAndre Swift, who's younger,
Right.
and Rashad Penny. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah,
And they
That's-
still have Kenneth Gainwell.
yeah, that team's stacked, and the giant killer Boston Scott.
Yep. Ashton.
So-
We'll see if he even makes the roster, man.
True.
It's a fan
Hard
favorite.
times out there for running back in Philly if you're trying to make the team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Gage, any positives for you, or did you already say something?
let's just talk the running back group. I mean everything. Like Mikey was
Yeah.
hitting it all, but that defense is
Yeah.
they are like what's his name? Barnett.
Derek Barnett, yeah.
Derek Barnett, yeah, he's like maybe pursuing a chance to play for another team because that defensive line is so loaded he doesn't get to play.
I bet you.
And
he
that
goes
dude's
to
not a
the
scrub.
Baltimore
He's
Ravens.
a good edge rusher, right? Like that's crazy. Like they've just got a not only do they have good players and a good team, they've got a very deep team.
Yeah.
And they just got richer.
I think the only source of like cause for concern, outside of the obvious injury, but they did lose both of their coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators,
Very
and
true.
they lost their play
Oh,
caller,
I forgot
Shane
about that.
Steichen. So just kind of like non-biased in any way, but when Sirianni took over for the Eagles, he originally was the play caller. They were kind of in the mud with the offense, and then they turned to Shane Steichen, and that's when you saw Jalen Hurts second half of Sirianni's first year really start to get going, and then all last year they were one of the best offenses, and so they lost their play caller. I'm not saying Sirianni can't do it. I mean, I think they have a lot of tape of what their team is good at, and so maybe they just kind of carry on with that, and Jalen Hurts kind of has a little bit more leadership with what is being called. But that is the chink in the armor at the moment is coordinators and specifically play caller.
True.
Well, do we all agree the Eagles will repeat and win the division again?
Yeah, you have to until further
probably.
notice. They're
Okay.
up there with the Chiefs, the Bengals, as far as just like until something else happens, they're the guys.
Okay. I'll go Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants.
Ooh, okay. Where are you going?
Cowboys last?
No, Giants,
What?
Cowboys
Oh.
third.
Cowboys
Okay.
third. Wow, that's spicy, man.
And Giants last?
I'm gonna go Eagles 1. I'm gonna go Giants 2,
Yep.
Cowboys 3, Commanders 4.
Yep. That's
Okay.
my list as well.
Alrighty.
If you guys in the comments are Cowboys fans, Eagles fans, or Giants and Commanders fans, tell us where we're wrong. Obviously, we're third and wrong. Sorry for the technical difficulties there at the end of this video. I'm just recording a little sign off since we kind of got cut off our stream there, unfortunately. But as I was going to say, if you NFC East fans have anything to put in the comments, we're third and wrong. You can tell us where we're wrong. We're not offended by that. We will maybe respond to you though. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe for us. That really helps us out with this young, small channel that we have here. So hurry up and do that real quick. But other than that, enjoy this football season. It's right upon us, and enjoy it all.